Hi there, welcome to my views on news. Three news stories. Firstly, people have stormed another palace in an Asian country. A woman in power for more than a decade, accused of launching crackdown on opposition, has been overthrown. So protests against governments. We are seeing protests in Nigeria too. We saw what happened in Kenya. I'm talking about Bangladesh. Details for you. Secondly, a war of words between Eritrean minister and former US government officials. One who worked as US ambassador to Ethiopia was involved in exchange of allegations with Eritrean Minister of Information. Thirdly, dollar hit another high against Birr today. I did a video on that a few hours ago. After that, another bank released foreign exchange. By the way, the banks seem to be in competition to devalue Birr. They are raising dollar price, lowering Birr price, Birr value, and they're not selling dollars, by the way. They're just buying dollars, it seems. Let's start, viewers. The first story is from Bangladesh. By the way, Bangladesh was part of Pakistan. It was called East Pakistan. When partition happened in 1947 and the British had to leave the subcontinent, was split into two countries, India and Pakistan. Pakistan had two parts, Bangladesh, East and West Pakistan. West Pakistan is now Pakistan. East Pakistan became Bangladesh in 1971. Back then, India interfered in support of East Pakistan. Bangladesh, India helped the creation of Bangladesh. By the way, East and West Pakistan were not linked. Between East and West Pakistan, there was Indian territory. Pakistani military was accused of human rights abuses against Bengalis. Pakistani military political establishment was accused of denying due rights to Bengalis. Bengalis were frustrated. Indians helped them, and Bangladesh was created. Bangladesh has been working. It has been on good relations with India. The man who played a key role in that war for independence, they call it, was Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, politician. Daughter has been in power in Bangladesh for around a decade, more than a decade. Her name is Sheikh Hasina Wajid, Prime Minister, but she autocratically ruled. She tried to crush opposition. She tried to crush protest. By the way, last year I went to Saudi Arabia with my family, and there I met with some Bengalis. I asked them about the situation in their country, stability, because in Pakistan we know that everything is being controlled by military. So there is no freedom, there is no democracy, true democracy here. I asked him about Bangladesh. He said that military is not powerful, but the prime minister is very powerful, and she's working like an autocrat, dictator. But no dictator can survive if people decide to overthrow dictators. So protests in Bangladesh for several days. Government tried to crush protests. Protests started when the government announced a special 30% quota in jobs for those who lost their lives or who took part in the war for independence of 1971 when Bangladesh was created. People took to the streets, and then the protests turned into anti-government protests. Ultimately, Hasina Wajid resigned. Today, the Bangladeshi Prime Minister resigned because people stormed the palace. They took control of the palace, and Sheikh Hasina has reportedly fled the country. Her plane, military plane, entered Indian airspace a few hours ago. Will she stay in India or is she transiting through India? That remains to be seen. But Sheikh Hasina Wajid, the Bangladeshi Prime Minister, has been ousted not by military but by people. What did military do, by the way? Military refused to open fire at people. Military refused to obey the orders of the Prime Minister to crush these protests. The military chief said that his forces won't fire at people, and the military saying that a transitional government will be established. So these days we're seeing people proving that they can change governments if their rights are denied. Bangladeshi people, by the way, suffered a lot. During the protests too, they suffered dozens killed in these protests, but they managed to take control of the palace. Economic conditions are also one of the fueling factors behind these protests, like we're seeing in Kenya, like we're seeing in Nigeria. In Nigeria too, people are being warned against continuation of a protest. By the way, people hope that someday Ethiopians will also rise against the Prime Minister, especially keeping in view the new economic reforms, which are proving to be very hard to handle for the people, for common man in Ethiopia. So far, no signs of people taking to the streets against the government. Secondly, viewers, war of words was seen yesterday between an Eritrean minister and a former US ambassador who served as US ambassador to Ethiopia. Yemane Gebremeskel is Eritrean Minister of Information. Tibor Nagy is former US ambassador to Ethiopia. When 1998 war broke out between Ethiopia and Eritrea, back then he was the US ambassador to Ethiopia. Yemane and Tibor accused each other yesterday. Yemane, in a post, said that Tibor, Brad Sherman, and other US lobbyists and some organizations like RFI have reverted to launching a vitriol of baseless allegations against government. And he said, dog barks while the camel marches. So he used very strong language against Brad Sherman, US lawmaker, and Tibor Nagy and RFI. Tibor responded to it, saying that these Eritrean ministers have only control over what they wear. They can wear choice of their dress of the choice. Otherwise, they cannot make any decisions. Whatever they say is being told to them to say. They have no freedom to speak. They're hostages. And Tibor went on to accuse Eritrea that it was Eritrea which initiated the war on Ethiopia in 1998. To which Eritrean activists responded saying that it was the US which backed TPLF and TPLF waged war on Eritrea. So war of words, interesting war of words was seen between Tibor Nagy and Yemane Gebremeskel. Tibor called Yemane Minister of Disinformation. Tibor is very critical of Isaias Afwerki Eritrean government, and this was the first time that we've seen this interesting war between two sides. They have been involved in such exchange of hot words in the past as well. Last viewers, private Ethiopian banks in the race to devalue Birr as much as they can. New banks announcing high Birr dollar selling rates as if people are lining up to buy dollars there, and as if they have large supply of dollars. They're not selling dollars, by the way. Or that's what I heard from people. They're just issuing statements. They're just releasing foreign exchange rates, and they are raising dollars price, lowering dollars price. They're not selling any dollars. Where is the National Bank of Ethiopia, the regulator? Where is the government? I mean, is this what we call floating exchange rate? That any bank can announce any exchange rate? I told you about Oromia Bank. It announced 113 exchange rate, but to dollar. That was the highest for today. But then Sihai Bank also joined the race. This bank announced the rate 115.05 per dollar selling rate. Are these banks selling dollars? I don't think so. Maybe very small amount of dollars being sold by them. They're just buying dollars. I think National Bank of Ethiopia will have to rein in the banking sector. Freedom should be given, freedom to work, definitely. It does not mean the government should have no say. Institutions will create more instability in the market, I think, if there are no checks and balances. Let's see how the government handles this crisis. Thank you for watching.